The melody isn't actually that bad. The one in the break and on the drop, it's fine. Works for this kind of music. Again, you know, I'm not a huge like big room, this kind of music guy. Welcome to the studio. Today's Monday, full music production. No, actually not. No music production today. It's Monday. It's a full-on business day. As you know, I have this huge deal opportunity to produce for someone else that is actually among the DJ Top 100. Still hesitating because I don't want to ghost produce anymore. I stopped that 3 years ago. But if all of the details and everything about it is all right, and it might actually help me to make my music in the future better and be able to promote it, I will go for it. And then there are new releases coming up. On Friday, we got the entire remix package. The Stay remixes are finally out this week. As you know, I did like a Splice remix contest and we got like 4 winners, 4 amazing tracks, all very unique. And I can't wait to share them in full length with you on Friday. So let me take care of all of the business stuff. And I think I will do just another edition of track submits. So welcome to Track Submits, the little segment within my daily vlog where I listen to your music that you submit, try to give you feedback, try to help you what you should do next, rate your songs. So let's start with the very first one. This is a song called Somewhere by Kent, and it sounds actually like 2 songs playing at the same time. It's clashing melodies and clashing elements. I would strip it down, like the arpeggiator isn't bad and the kick isn't bad. The 2 could go well together, maybe a new bass then to it. The vocal chops, maybe try pitching them, building a melody out of it to make it actually fit to the song. And yeah, I think this will definitely benefit from reducing it and like making those 2 songs in one again into 2 actual songs. The vibe though is kind of cool. It's like a chilled summer kind of vibe. I actually like the vocals. So yeah, try to get rid of a couple of tracks, mix it again a little, and I think you got something that is like playable and you can like send it out to your friends and try and get feedback. Next up we got by Oren Kane, Could It Be? This one is like heavily compressed and mastered to a point where it's a little too much, even for like big room. This song is like definitely like big room with a little progressive house music, and it's banging. That's definitely good because that's like the main thing you have to hit producing this kind of music, and that's actually accomplished. The melody isn't actually that bad. The one in the break and on the drop, it's fine. Works for this kind of music. Again, you know, I'm not a huge like big room, this kind of music guy, but I can still objectively say that it's actually pretty okay. The sounds are the right ones, that's important. The melodies are the right ones. I think here it's all about getting the mixing like maybe 10-20% better by adjusting finer details in the mix. A lot of ear candy throughout the entire song. Maybe considering making it longer. It's like almost 4 minutes. I think it could be like 4:50, maybe 5 minutes for this style of music, and actually having like a huge break in the middle that is way more epic, that like really starts from almost nothing, maybe just a vocal and then building up. This is really epic. The biggest problem definitely like that there's just too much on the master. next one is way different. A very chill track called Summer Rain by Yannick TR. It's pretty alright. Like it hits the vibe, definitely. The melody isn't mine, to be honest. It's very playful, sounds a little childish, if you know what I mean. It could use a little like spiciness to it. It's a little the sound, because the sound already makes it like slow, dreamy, which is good for the vibe, but maybe like a little more, because it's still like deep house, is still kind of club music to some extent. So yeah, I would just actually change the melody. And maybe also the piano. The piano chords are alright, but the sound of the piano is like a classic grand piano. This works, but I think in this instance, because the melody and the sound of the melody has like a tropical house vibe, maybe a Korg M1 piano would be actually better. It has this classic piano house old school vibe. Maybe even mixing both together, getting the attack of the Korg M1 and having like the sustain of the grand piano could actually be something quite interesting. Yeah, but the melody, it's like too predictive. Like you listen to it and you know what will happen next. So it's not that interesting, kind of. Don't change it to something entirely messy, but like a little surprise here and there would be actually good. Not bad at all. A techno song by Uyun called Words. It's good. Arrangement is perfect. That's how you should arrange a club track. The sound design is alright. I mean, like, this kind of techno doesn't need like the most creative synthesizers. It's usually all about just getting a ton of bass and kick in there and a little bit of drums here and there and hi-hats to make it exciting. But yeah, it fits like the style, definitely techno. I'm just not sure about like some of the drum samples. The snare, I think it could work with another sample a little better, or maybe cutting away the top frequencies of the snare to make it sound deeper and more techno. That's like something a lot of people in this kind of style actually do. The main melody, if you want to call it, it's like this bass groove. That's fine, that's all right, that's enough for techno. I would love to hear like here and there every minute like a small synthesizer melody, like 4 or 5 notes, just like maybe going up or down and having a ton of echo and reverb on it just to catch the attention of the listener. I think those little things make actually a techno song stand out among all of these kind of very loop-based songs. Next up by Cameron Gone, a song called Betty. It's also a techno track. Yeah, if you really want to make techno, the bass needs to be a different sound. The bass melody doesn't need to be that melodic. Just like a groove and maybe changing a note here and there is enough. If you make it too playful, it doesn't sound like techno. It's a little more into like a, I don't know, electro pop kind of direction from the melodies. And yeah, I mean it's his first techno track, so the mixing isn't there yet. The sound selection isn't the right one. I think if you switch your style, it just needs a little time to adapt. You need to find the right samples, try them out on tracks. If it works, then get more samples and narrow down your sample selection to the ones that actually define your sound. And if you make techno, I think a lot of 808, 909 is just always a good fit. Basses, sub basses, old school synthesizer basses, and for the main sounds actually as well. You know, if you want to make it sound like a certain style, you need to incorporate the kind of elements of it. It's like rock music, you need a band. The band makes the sound and then it sounds like rock. If you use heavily distorted guitars, it might sound more like heavy metal. So you need to know your instruments. And in electronic dance music, music production, it's usually your sample selection and your sound selection from your synthesizer. So it's really important to nail that. Otherwise, it just sounds like a different kind of style, which can be also really nice and interesting. But sometimes it just sounds really off and just bad. Like you didn't know what you were actually doing. That's actually an interesting song. I would love to hear by Arca. His song's called Home, by the way. I would love to hear a song from him in like 5-6 years, because if he continues this kind of style, it's like chilled, ambient with a little bit of future bass, and I think it's like it's a good approach to something a little different at least. And if you continue doing that, you might end up with something that is like just different than anything else. But so far, yeah, it sounds a little too clean for my taste. It sounds very digital, kind of. I would actually start distorting every track like a little, like maybe 5% here, 2% there, clip distortion, maybe some distortion by the sound toys, decapitator, or whatever it is called. Also bit crushing, just to give it more like an edgy sound and have more ambient stuff in the background, like really, really low in the track to make it sound denser. I think for this kind of style, you can actually go with these kind of in the background subtle sounds. Sample selection, sound selection is actually quite all right. The wobbly kind of synthesizer, I'm not sure about that because I've heard it so many times. I would actually prefer like a nice old school pad on this kind of song. Would take it into another direction. So it's totally up to the artist to figure this one out. With that being said, thanks a lot for watching. This was today's edition of Track Submits. If you want to submit your song and have it showcased here on this channel, just follow the link down below in the description. I will now go back to working a tiny bit on music and then business stuff throughout the entire day. And hopefully, yeah, get this deal kind of closed. Still not sure. Like, it could go either way. If you're dealing with these kind of people, you never know. They might screw you every single second you're dealing with them. Anyways, sign off.